Hello and welcome to this new video on SwiftUI, where we're going to be looking at three things in particular in SwiftUI. A, how to create text. B, how to create different kind of stacks such as vertical stack, horizontal stack, and stuff like that. And C, or third, is going to be how to create a list. Okay, so we may also have some time to explore the image, so we're gonna look into that as well. And what we're gonna do is we are going to go over really quickly on these to understand how to create a label, image, different stacks into SwiftUI. Okay, if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and make sure that you basically buy the course that's actually linked below to get to learn more about SwiftUI. And there's a course that is recently published on SwiftUI core data, so that's coming very soon. So I'm going to post a link to that down in the description below as well. So please support us as much as you can, and we'll make sure to keep bringing you new and innovative content every single day. All right, thank you and enjoy. So SwiftUI, you must have all heard. That's why you got here to this video, and you might have seen, like, how SwiftUI is basically changing the way you code your UI for iOS apps. So let's go ahead, and without wasting any further time, we're gonna jump right into it. So I have this sample app created. We're gonna use Xcode 11, and I have Xcode 11 installed on Mojave, so that's why I don't have the preview screen yet. Mojave has not been released to Catalina has not been released to public yet. So as soon as macOS Catalina is released to the public, I'm going to install it and basically show you a Xcode preview style of creating SwiftUI. But till that time, we are still going to run it traditional way. So basically run it in a simulator and going to see our changes. Okay, so let's go ahead and create. So first of all, we have something that's already created, by default created for us in the template. It's called text. Text is basically a label, and it actually represents a label that can have various different kind of modifiers that you can apply to it. For example, you can have a font, and font can be of any type, like large title, callout, or you can have your custom font. So you can have your custom font with the name and the size. Okay, so we're gonna choose, in this case, for example, let's say title, and gonna run the app and see how that changes the way hello is written on the screen. And as you can see, it's gotten a little bit bigger. Now if, let's say, if you want to provide a color to this, you can simply say foreground color, and let's give it an orange color. Okay, so it's gonna basically change our text to orange. We can also make it bold, so bold like that, and it's simply gonna make the text bold like that. We can add a multi-line alignment. So there are a lot of properties actually to explore, but I'm gonna go through as much as I can. And basically this is only gonna be in effect when you have large text. So I'm gonna simply paste this large text, and let's take a look what we have. As you can see, we have center line ourselves. Okay, now there is another property called line limit, and let's say give it to 100, but this is not gonna have any effect until we have another control at the bottom. So for that, I think it's a good time to introduce something called vertical stack. So vertical stack is just like your stack view, but in a simpler term. Basically, it's just you just write it as vertical stack, and you start pasting your controls that you want to display. For example, so if I run this, you're gonna notice that our text has our view has two texts. There is one at the top and there is one at the bottom. Okay, and you can apply like various different things like padding. So you can apply, like, I want 30 padding on this one. Okay, so let's add 30 padding all around, and as you can see, there's a slight gap between these two. Okay, So now you can also do something that is, oh, let me show you the line limit thing. So if you didn't have line limit, and if you run this, what's going to happen is your text is basically going to be what's going on? Okay. Okay, Xcode got stuck, so well, okay, that's strange. I think this has been changed. So let's say, excuse me, if you had line limit as 0, this is what your text is gonna look like. Okay, now let's say you have it as nil. Okay, nil should have the same effect as number of lines. Okay, but you can include something called HStack. For example, HStack. So it's a horizontal stack, and you can have a spacer. It's just a view that takes as much as space that's available. So basically, we use it in order to move stuff up and down. So if you try to put a spacer in vertical stack view, then all these things that are growing centrally, they're going to move up, so they're going to be displayed here, and spacer is going to take the rest of the space. I'll show you how that works. So let's make this text basically shoved down at this on the right hand side. So if I do like that, we're gonna notice that basically our text has been shoved down on this area. Okay, so this is what I want to show you, that if you have anything other than text, what happens is your line is shrunken down to basically a single line with ellipses on it, and you have to give it some sort of limit in order to show how many lines are there showing up. Now let's say if I give 100, it doesn't mean that it's going to take space for 100. That means that it's actually going to take space enough to show number of lines. But if it has to grow up to 100 lines, it's going to grow up to 100 lines, and after that, for 101th line, it's going to basically truncate that at the end. Okay, so that's what line limit means. All right, hope that is clear. Now let me show you the spacer thing. So if we remove spacer from here, let's say if we wanted to align this text in the center, so we can simply say spacer text spacer. Our text is going to be in the center. If I remove this or comment this spacer, our text is going to be moved to left hand side, because this whole space is going to be taken by the spacer. And although I like actually the earlier one, so I'm going to remove this one, and I'm going to add this, and also we can add some padding around the entire stack. So padding of 30 points, okay, to basically move the view inside to make it look a little bit nice. Okay, so this looks like a quote. It could be a famous quote that someone has said, and that's what we are displaying here. Okay, so multi-line text, you can have leading, and you can simply save that and run it, and as you can see, it's actually now leading alignment. Okay, cool. So what else can we do here? Well, let's add some background. So background, and you can say color dot blue. Okay, so you have added some background, and now the Xcode has decided to behave. All right, this is awesome. Let me kill this. All right, let's try to run it again, and our iPhone simulator is gonna be launching pretty soon. There we go, it's launching, and there we have it, and now we get the error again. Okay, but as you can see, we have the background, and now you can actually add some padding to this one as well, and that will make it look Right, I don't know what's going on with this iPhone XS Pro. Let's go ahead and close this window and rerun it. And we're gonna launch the Xcode, the XS or iPhone 11 Pro. Okay, it's gonna take a bit time, so till that time we can actually, let me try to move it here. Okay, so what else can we do? Basically, we can add padding. Padding takes various different various different arguments, and you can define edges, like edges around, like what kind of edges you want to consider for padding. You can have edge set, basically, so like edge set, edge inset, basically where you're gonna be given option, for example, edge inset, and you can have like top, bottom. So let's say if I want 0 from top, 20 from leading, 0 from bottom, and 20 for trailing. If I want to do that, this is what it's gonna show me, and we have that padding added. Okay, so let's do padding 30 overall, and make sure the ordering is important in SwiftUI, where you're adding padding and where you're adding background, because if you add background first and then add padding, it's not gonna take basically it's not gonna show the padding area shaded with the background, because the color is applied first and then padding is applied later on. Okay, so you can clip shape, and you can clip it to a circle. Let's try that, and let's see what that does for us. As you can see, it's actually made it circular. How easy it is to make a circular label. Okay, now let me give a foreground color to this one as well, because I don't really like this black color. So white. Okay, that's what I want. All right, so this is all I want to talk about text. As you can see, we have we have made really fast, really quickly, we have made this app looking, to be honest, it's looking pretty good for the amount of time we have given it to this particular app. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I'm gonna actually comment this, and let me show you how you can work with images. So for to work with images in SwiftUI, you simply say image, and you provide the name of the image. So I have loaded this back image in my assets or XE assets, so I'm simply going to say back here, and let's go ahead and run this and see what that does for us. Okay, so as you can see, the image is taking over the entire screen. Awesome. Now if you want to resize it, so you can say resizable, you can say aspect ratio fit, and then you can also give it a frame, and frame can be UI, for example, UI screen. You want to say UI screen dot main screen dot bounds dot width times 0.8. Okay, and that's all you wanted to say, and you just close it here. Let's see what this does for us. As you can see, the image has shrunken down, and it's taking the 80% of the width of your screen. So let's go ahead and rerun it in this mode, and there we go. It's taking that much space. As you can see, it doesn't repaint itself, so that might be the topic for future videos, how to dynamically adapt to these, because we want to actually, what do we really want to do, just to give you a hint, this is basically something to do with the observables, and you want to observe these changes of changing the layout, and then after you've observed or received a notification of a change, you actually repaint your UI. That's what you would do. Okay, there is something else that he can do. There's something called ignore edges, safe area, and you can say ignore all the safe areas. I don't really care about safe areas. So in that case, you can actually start moving things up. So let's say if you were to put this one into a stack, a vertical stack, like that, and you were to put a spacer, you're gonna notice that our image is gonna move up, right? Okay, so it's still gonna be like, you know, fit and everything. So if you see, let's see how fill looks like in this case, and there we go. So our image is filling the first of all, it's taking the 80%, like, you know, but it's actually also filling, but it's moving up, ignoring the safe area edges. Okay, so that's one thing to consider if you wanna show your UI or your view to be basically underneath this status bar for the iPhone. Okay, now what's next? Let's talk about the list. Let's talk about the list. Okay, so list is, let's say you have a table view. Remember how you had to create table view? You had to basically conform to delegate and data source and all that stuff. Well, all that is gone. Now table views are rather simple in SwiftUI. The way you create table views, let me create a simple array for Harry Potter books, and you can guess I'm a big fan of Harry Potter, so well, and use okay, so what are we going to do here? We can create a list here. We can create a list, and list can be on the array. Now list needs a unique identifier, basically to identify what it needs to iterate on. And what we can do is we can say ID, and for simple types we can simply say self. For complex types, for an object, let's say if you had an object with first name and last name, you can simply say that ID me by first name or last name. The thing is, yes, it has to be unique value, so you can even have an ID within your object, and you can refer to the list and have list identify that particular record or one record by that ID. Okay, so moving forward, we can simply say item in, and you can display a text here with item. And if we run this, you're gonna notice that we have our table view created, and it's interactive and everything. Okay, so this was a quick overview of few of the things I wanted to talk about SwiftUI. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Please subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more on this topic, and check out the courses in the description below. And thank you again for your support.